How would an empath or a victim of narcissistic abuse destroy a narcissist? How would an empath go about destroying a narcissist? Can an empath destroy a narcissist? And in brief, coming face to face with the monster within the narcissist in such a way that they can no longer escape the reality of exactly who it is that they are. When the charade is done, when the false self, when the mask has fallen and the false self no longer cuts the bill, when they can no longer hide their true authentic self, when they run out of energy, when they run out of narcissistic supply and wherewithal to maintain their presence, to juggle the lies, to hide their past, to gaslight, to lie, to cheat, and their aging starts to catch up with their they can't maintain the amount of supply sources that they once had. Their supporters, they've pissed off everyone. Their supporters are long gone, and people steer clear from the narcissist eventually, but that may not happen for a very, very long time. And the players these are the players, the flying monkeys, the people in the narcissist make believe world, the enablers, the people that can't wake up to realize that the whole victim narrative was a string of complete fabrication and complete lies, and that the narcissist is the toxic one, and that the narcissist is the abuser, even though these flying monkeys and these people actually believe that the narcissist is the abused one in many situations, and they will do anything to stay in good standing with the narcissist for whatever reason, and that none of their apparent success in life is, they don't see that none of it is actually attributable to the narcissist and is actually essentially stolen or borrowed from other people, from multiple other people, people they have met, picked up characteristics from their entire life. They are basically pretending to be human. Many people will eventually come to see that most, if not all, of the narcissist's crazy, unhinged exes were actually being abused, and that they were not crazy. They will not fall for the crazy baiting caused by the narcissist themselves, and even their own children will eventually wake up to the reality that their seemingly normal range parents never loved them all along. So how do you achieve getting over this, getting past this, and essentially becoming their worst nightmare, and not necessarily pursuing them, but in some cases, perhaps, yes. So how would you go about that? I would say, okay, so to become a narcissist's worst enemy, swap roles and play swap roles from being prey and instead become the hunter, and allow yourself to become more narcissistic than they are, if that is something that you are willing to do. It's not something I would necessarily recommend, but for the duration of this campaign that you launch against the narcissist, tug at their false persona, tug at that disguise, go straight for the jugular, go straight for their vulnerabilities, reveal that toxic demon to every single one of their friends and their family members, the flying monkeys, the supporters. And you will need to be someone who is absolutely experienced and knowledgeable in narcissistic abuse firsthand, and worked hard to make sense of most, if not all of it. Someone who can spot a narcissist despite their numerous layers of camouflage and defense, and use subtle tests in order to confirm your suspicions beyond a reasonable doubt about if this person is a narcissist or not, and becoming fully and extremely resistant to bullying, to gaslighting, to manipulation, and God only knows what else. Somebody who retains the strength and personality and courage of their conviction to stand firm in their own authenticity and wider reality. Someone who is prepared to swim against the tide and often contrary to considerable public opinion, guided by a strong moral compass. Someone who is prepared to call them out on their bullshit and to expose their abuse, and who will move to protect victims. Someone who is prepared and sufficiently informed to spread awareness and understanding of narcissistic personality disorder at a grassroots level with friends, family, colleagues, and anyone in real life that they come in contact with, and especially over social media. And someone who is prepared to lose inauthentic friends but will champion common decency. Someone who is strong, someone who is self-sufficient, someone who has morals, that who can apparently go it alone, even if secretly they are resourceful enough to garner some support from some type of healthy source if they can. And someone who is prepared to be kind and fair and transparent and considerate, yet adopt tactics that best form of defense should the situation require it with the narcissist. And someone who can step ahead of the narcissist, setting traps and closing off escape routes. Someone who is unpredictable. Someone who can basically effectively erode the narcissist support base, effectively isolating them with those who provide them support and, most importantly, narcissistic supply. Or we could do the better thing and just leave them the hell alone. Literally deprive them of as much narcissistic fuel and human contact as possible. As that real self, we all know it is so toxic that it will eventually corrode that false self to anybody that they meet, including the new supply. And the introspection that is brought about by the solitude and silence can send some of these narcissists under at some stage. So what happens when the narcissist is destroyed? We have heard of the narcissistic collapse, and it is not a pretty sight. It presents itself as a massive mental breakdown, after which they become withdrawn and isolated, and they struggle to face themselves. And as a result, they cannot face the world. And narcissistic collapse is actually generally really permanent from what I've heard, and the narcissist will never recover for the rest of their life. There is also the less heard of and less talked about narcissistic hibernation, and this is the less common variant, as I was saying. And this generally happens when the narcissist loses key sources of supply at once and therefore struggles to maintain the charade, the false self, and they lie low until another strong source of narcissistic supply is found, and from whom they are able to derive sufficient supply on a long-term basis. And they eventually will feel good about themselves to face the world again. So karma. People ask me about karma all of the time. And this is the karma about which pundits often refer. And it'll happen, sure enough, sure as the sun rises and the sun sets. And if you as a victim want to accelerate the onset of narcissistic collapse, just go out there and thrive. Live your best life. Your success deals them the biggest hammer blows. Your no contact, the biggest hammer blows. Your gray rock, the biggest hammer blows. I promise. Hey guys, if you are interested in donating to my cause, Narcissistic Abuse 101, click the PayPal link in my bio. And if you are interested in one-on-one coaching with me, Sara A. Brown, you can email me. That link is also in my bio. And I ask that anybody who sends an email about coaching, feel free to, ask questions, whatever, but serious inquiries only, please. And I am not able to answer any of these kinds of questions through my direct messaging on Instagram, only through email. And that, again, is in my bio. Thanks, guys.